Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Claire and in today's video I'm going to show you three different dinner ideas. Tonight's one that I'm doing is a meatball pasta, so I'll just take you over there and show you everything that you'll need. So you'll need some meatballs, some oil, some, you can use any you want, but this is my absolute favourite. I use the Lloyd Grossman's wild mushroom and tomato, some mixed herbs and some oxo cubes. Now you can do this with 12 meatballs, but obviously if you do just half what I'm using, as you won't want it as strong as that and you'll have too much sauce. So we also use tagliatelle rather than just any normal spaghetti or pasta. I just feel like this really goes well with the sauce, and it just honestly is the best change we made, so you can try that out too if you like. So you're going to want to start by browning your meatballs with some oil in a pan. I tend to preheat my pan just so that when I put it in it's a little bit warmer and it's not just sitting in a cold pan, but that's totally optional. So I'm just going to get started. So now that they are somewhat cooked and quite brown, I'm going to drain the oil to make it that just a bit healthier, and then I'm going to start adding in the rest of the ingredients. Did you know that you're meant to open oxo cubes like this? So you open all the four corners and then you push in the middle to break it up, so that you don't have to break it up with your hands and get them everywhere. And then it gives you a little whoop, it gives you a little parcel like this, and then you can just sort of tear it open and pour it inside. So when adding the tagliatelle, I find that 7 of the balls is good enough for 2 people. It depends on how many you're making, so of course if you're making it for 4 people, double it. My actual 24 meatballs last us 2 days, so that's 4 meals. So we'd use about 14 of these, but I prefer to make the pasta fresh, like the next day, rather than eating it from yesterday, because like reheated pasta's like, oh. But yes, so that's how I do this. So seven balls of pasta. I mean, it depends how much pasta you like. If you like a little tiny little bit, then maybe 6, or if you like quite a bit, maybe add 8, because then you've got half an extra ball each, and that would contribute to having a little more. I'm going to add some pepper into this. So I'm going to taste what the green olive and the tomato taste like to see what if I like it or not. Yeah, it goes really well. I'm going to add some in. So this is what 7 bowls of pasta looks like for 2 people. Plus, I'm also testing Leo out on some pasta, as I want to see if it still upsets his tummy or not. And this is what the finished meal looks like. So this is quite a big portion, I suppose, but I'm a breastfeeding mama and I get very hungry very quickly. This is Leo's little portion, and this is my mum hack for you. So if you use the IKEA bowls like we do, I use red when we have tomato, otherwise the bowls just get totally stained. So this way you can't stain a red bowl red. So there you go, there's a tip of the day. So what you're going to need is sausages. You can either do this with just 6 sausages, but I'm using 12 as I like to make it last. Mushrooms, 300 ml of cream, but do know that if you're going to do 6 sausages, you want to have this. Some tagliatelle, some frozen peas. I've got an onion and 3 cloves of garlic. Actually, it's just 2 cloves of garlic there. Some parmesan and some spinach, and you'll need a splash of oil as well. And also, sometimes at the end, it's nice to have a sprinkle of salt. And I've also, I didn't mean to forget this bit, but this is totally optional, but a little dash of some white wine just really goes well with the cream and the sausages, and it makes it taste amazing. You're going to want to start by preheating a frying pan with a splash of oil. So as soon as that pan starts to get hot and you hear sizzling, all you're going to want to do is pop in your sausages. You just pop them in whole as they are. And I can never get the sausages open, so I always have to get my trusted scissors in to help me. That's one pack. I usually fry my sausages for about 18 to 20 minutes, but really I just judge on how they're looking and how brown they are. So there we have our 12 fat sausages sizzling in the pan. So while the sausages are starting to fry, you're just going to want to wash your mushrooms and chop them up. So I'm just going to do that now. So now you just want to chop up your onion. I tend to dice mine so that it's nice small pieces. Does anybody else always cry when they cut onions? Like, I can't cut onions without crying. Like, they just go hand in hand. So another thing you can do while you're waiting for your sausages to brown is chop up your garlic. You can either crush it or chop it, it's up to you. And you can also start grating your Parmesan cheese so that you are ahead of the game when your sausages are finished. So the sausages are cooking away really nicely, so I'm going to take some clean scissors I've just washed and I'm going to cut the sausages into bite-sized or nice slices. Leo's eating this meal as well, so I tend to cut them quite small. I'll show you how I do this. I find this the easiest way, rather than taking them all out and having to cut them on the chopping board, which tends to be quite a messy way of doing it. So now I'm going to add in the mushrooms, the onions and the garlic, and I'm just going to let that boil away, well, fry, bubble, whatever, away until they sort of cook down a bit. Now you're going to want to add in some peas. How much you put in is totally up to you. It depends on how much your family likes peas. I normally put in a fair amount so that there's enough peas to go around. So now what I've done is I've put some pasta or tagliatelle into the pot. I put about 8 pieces in for 2 people, with Leo having a little bit, but it recommends that you put 75 grams in per person, and then you're just going to want to boil your kettle and then fill it up and put it on and set yourself an alarm for 8 to 10 minutes depending on how you like your pasta. So this is when it starts to get fun. You're going to want to add your cream. So you're going to want to leave that in there until it starts to thicken a bit, and then you're going to want to add your spinach. So now I'm adding my pre-washed spinach. You don't want a lot of this. Sorry, I'm crystallin away. You don't want a lot of this, just enough to add a bit of flavour and make its presence known. You know, with spinach, it doesn't matter if you put the whole bag in, it all just disappears anyway. But I think about that much is good. You know, go by how you feel, you know. If you feel like that's too much, put less, or if you feel like you like more, put more. But ideally you don't want too much because it is going to disappear and it's just going to be like little bits every now and then, which actually I quite like. So that was my spinach after it was all cooked in. It totally boiled down and now it doesn't look like there's anything in there. Now is your time to add the rest. So a sprinkle of pepper, quite a big sprinkle of pepper because it's a big batch for me, and as well the Parmesan. Just going to want to let that cook in, give it a stir, and then once all of that has done its bit, maybe turn the heat down a bit, bubbling away. It's time to add your dash of wine. So just cook. Oh, that was a bit much, but hey ho. Give it a stir. It smells amazing. And then just let that boil a little bit more and thicken and let the wine cook in. Have a taste, see how you feel like with the wine. The wine's very much by taste as well. We don't like a too strong a taste, but just like a hint, a very little hint is nice. I'm gonna have a really quick little taste test. We haven't had this in a couple of months because I was like, we've eaten too many sausages, but oh my goodness, that is amazing. It's got a hint of the cheese, it's got a hint of the wine, it's got a hint of the sausages. The vegetables have stayed really quite plain and they're kind of hiding. You know they're there but you can't taste them. And the garlic and the onion is, oh my goodness, it's just really, really good. You're gonna love this recipe at home. Do you know what it kind of reminded me of? A little bit like the garlic and white wine mussel sauce. That, in fact, I think I've just mixed two of the sauces together, but that was so nice. And this is the finished result. I added a little garnish. I thought that was cute. It's just a bit of spinach. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed my recipe video and that you'll give it a try and let me know in the comments what you think. Now I'm going to show you how to make salmon fried rice. So this is like a special fried rice kind of style meal. So you've got some salmon, you've got some peas, you can add mushrooms if you like, but tonight I'm just going to use some spring onions, some peas and some salmon. Excuse me, my toddler has literally just walked in and has decided to try and take over the vlog. So what you need for this is you'll need some garlic, some salmon, some spring onions, a cup of rice, some peas, some soy sauce, some oyster sauce and also some honey. But you're also going to need 2 eggs. So you want to start by preheating your oven. I've put mine on to 180 and you'll also want to put your rice on, as I feel the rice is normally the longest thing. So then you're going to jump straight in. So you're going to get yourself a piece of foil, roll up your sleeves, pop your salmon onto the foil. Oh, actually, before I have to touch it. So get yourself a little dish and mix some soy sauce and honey together. And then you'll want to use that by rubbing it all over your salmon. So this will make a really nice soy sauce and honey salmon. It adds a nice bit of flavour to the rice once it's all together. I'm just going to rub it in a little bit, and then you're going to want to chop up your garlic and add that in as well. Sprinkle it over your salmon, and then you want to wrap up your parcel. So here you have your little parcel that will hold all of the liquid in. So then you want to cook this for between 15 and 20 minutes. It really depends on how you like your salmon. I normally do mine for about 17 to 18 minutes rather than just 15. And then just let it sit in its foil until you're ready to do the rice step. While the salmon's in the oven and the rice is cooking, I'm just going to start chopping up the veg that I'm going to be using. Rice is ready, I'm going to really quickly put my egg in and then add the rice, but I'll show you exactly how to do that, as there's a little bit of a technique to use. So you'll want to kind of turn it up to a medium-high heat until it's a little bit sizzling, and then you will want to add your egg. And you just want to let the egg sit as if you were like making an omelette. And another tip is to always wet your spoon before you touch the rice, otherwise the rice will just stick to your spoon. So you kind of let the egg sit for a bit, move it around a bit so it doesn't cook too much. You want it to be a bit thick rather than really runny. Okay, that's perfect. And then you just want to add in your rice. While you're struggling to get the rice out, your egg will continue to cook a little bit, which is why it's good to do it when it's still a bit wet. There we go. And then just give it a stir around. You really want to mix it in. Now, to avoid making your rice really stodgy and it all clumpy and not very nice, you want to add your sauces in one at a time. Otherwise it's just too much liquid and it will make the rice go very wet and then you end up with sticky, stodgy rice. So I like to let the egg take with the sauce as it is. I'm just going to put my salmon in now. So you just unravel. Oh, that's lovely. So first things first, I want all my salmon juices to go into my mix. Now you'll want to stir that really quickly so that there's no rice getting sticky and wet. I'm going to add my salmon. I just use a spoon and kind of slide it in. I try not to use a scale. I don't really like that bit. Now I'm adding in my peas. I like a sprinkle about that much, not too many. Lastly, I'm just going to add in some oyster sauce. Because the rice already had soy sauce in it, I'm actually going to skip using soy sauce today. So I feel like it's such a waste if your salmon falls out the side. So then you just kind of want to do a circular motion again, not to make your rice too clumpy. A few dots, depends how well it's coming out. You don't need much of this, it is so strong. I think that is actually perfect. There we go. And you just want to kind of fold it in again, making sure that it's not too much in one part. This will just keep your rice nice and light. I was trying to think of a good way to describe it. So yeah, I'd say nice and light is a good way. Dry, light, but also moist at the same time, just not stodgy moist. This took me quite a few attempts to perfect, but it's definitely now turned into one of my signature dishes. Hey, you picking out your peas? No. I really hope that you enjoyed this recipe, and if you do, please do leave me a comment to let me know. Also, if you have any questions or there's something you're not quite sure of and you'd like me to go over it, leave me a comment. I'll happily reply and guide you as best as I can, and I'll see you in my next one. Also, please consider subscribing. I would absolutely love to have you as a subscriber. Every subscriber means so much to me, and I literally do like a little happy dance every time my subscribers go up. It's so sad, I know, but it makes me so happy. So anyway, I will see you in my next one. Goodbye, guys.